Okay, so I have Chris dialed up on Skype now. So let's go to Chris. Chris, thank you very much for joining us here. And how you doing?
Very well, thanks. Thanks for the opportunity.
Excellent. So what do you have on your mind for what's coming up next year?
Well, John, as you may know, I serve as president of Pacific Coast Region of National Model Railroad Association, and we're a co-sponsor of NMRA 2021 Rails by the Bay, which is the NMRA's national convention scheduled for July 4 to 11, 2021 in Santa Clara, California on the west coast of the US. I'm also serving as publicist for that convention. So I had hoped that we could talk a little bit today about the convention and its activities and why people might want to attend.
Sounds great to me.
Great. Let me introduce a presentation for you then. This presentation will provide you a brief introduction to our convention, which is going to be hosted at the Santa Clara Marriott Hotel and Conference Center in Santa Clara. Santa Clara has had continuous rail service from at least 1863 until today. And in the picture, you can see the Santa Clara Depot, which was constructed in 1875 by the Southern Pacific Railroad and has had continuous service from then until now. So it's truly a cherished historic rail site in the United States. That depot also includes two, if I'm not mistaken, model railroad layouts that have been in continuous operation for decades. So we have a long tradition of both railroading and model railroading here in Santa Clara. And just to orient listeners who might not be from the United States or have not traveled here recently, this map shows you in brief that Santa Clara is on the west coast of the US in California, and within the San Francisco Bay Area, we're at the southern tip of the Bay Area, down near San Jose. To get here, there are a number of options. Amtrak offers interstate rail service to Emeryville in the East Bay, and you can transfer from there to San Jose. And the Capital Corridor line operates from Los Angeles to San Jose, so people coming from the far east of the US could terminate in Los Angeles and then come north. We also have bus service into San Jose Diridon Station, and you can transfer from there to Santa Clara using the VTA Light Rail Green Line from Diridon to Levi's Stadium. The stadium, a major attraction in the area, has its own stop. There's also air service available on multiple carriers to San Jose International Airport, which is right next door to the convention site, Oakland or San Francisco. From San Jose, there's a free shuttle bus that transfers you to the depot that we just showed. And for those of you who are driving, the convention site is less than 2 miles from US 101, a major freeway. The Hotel and Conference Center is the Marriott Santa Clara. It's a modern facility with very good dining, unusually for a Marriott-level hotel, I believe. It has an excellent restaurant called Parcel 104. It also has a pool, an exercise center. The walkways from your guest room to all of the conference meeting rooms are completely covered and air-conditioned, and there's covered parking available with or without a valet. For those who are willing to take a 15-minute walk or so, you can just walk down the street to the Santa Clara Convention Center, which is where the National Train Show will be at the end of the week on July 11th and 12th, I believe. We have a negotiated rate of $199 a night at the hotel. Patronage of the hotel is very important to the success of the convention, but if it's not possible for people for some reason, there are plenty of lower cost options available nearby. We're focusing on these three things in the conference: prototype modeling, operations, and technology, and we'll be focusing clinic tracks and other educational opportunities on these three major areas. And the Santa Clara area, the San Francisco Bay Area, is home to a number of leaders in model railroading who are experts in all three of these areas. For clinics, we'll have an extensive clinic program. We have over 300 clinic slots available for presenters. We'll be organizing these according to the focus areas that I just showed, and we'll also organize them according to special interest groups such as layout design and operations. If you'd like to present a clinic, presentation offerings are welcome now, and the screen shows the email address for our clinics team. You can contact them anytime and present a proposal. We also have commitments from nationally known clinicians. You'll hear people like Tony Custer, Tony Thompson, and many others that you've seen published in national magazines. We have some spectacular and beautiful layouts to view and operate on in the Bay Area. I'm going to highlight just a few here. Many have been featured in national magazines, and because of time, I can't list everything. John, you've toured many of them and produced videos of them, so you know the high quality of layouts that we have here.
Oh, for sure.
For those outside the Bay Area, the highlights include Jim Diaz's Western Pacific Feather River route, which includes a beautiful model of the Keddy Y, which is pictured here. I visited this layout myself. It's not to be missed.
It's stunning.
And what Jim has done is not just great scenery and track work and perfectly weathered rolling stock. The entire layout room experience from the floor to the ceiling is comfortable, polished, perfect fascia, and all kinds of other touches like that just make it the experience memorable. Dave Adams' Derlin branch offers Colorado narrow gauge in ON3, also beautifully executed. We'll see Andy Schnurr's Chesapeake and Ohio, which offers very nice operations and an Eastern flavor, so not all the layouts on tour are Western prototypes. For a modern flavor, Seth Newman's Union Pacific Oakland sub, which was recently featured in Railroad Model Craftsman, will be on view. It has some incredible modern structures crafted by local modeler Earl Gerboven, who's among the country's finest HO scale modelers and a winner of many contest awards at the national level.
And a great guy, too.
A great guy as well. He's a leader in our Pacific Coast region and a frequent clinician. We'll also have Jack Burgess's Yosemite Valley Railroad, Otis McGee's SP Shasta route, Bob Brown's Tuolumne Forks, the Walnut Creek Model Railroad Society, which is an extensive operating club, Silicon Valley Lines, very large San Jose club layout, and they specialize in educating new operators, very welcoming to NMRA members, especially those who have not operated that often. The West Bay Model Railroad Club in Menlo Park, and many more. We're continuing to sign up. If you're an operator, we expect over 100 operating positions to be available on some of the layouts you've seen and others. Planning is well underway for scheduling these. We are very serious about operations in PCR and this convention. We've got people on our planning committee who travel to operating weekends around the country, and so we expect the operating experience to be really good. Your typical meetings of the special interest groups will be held, OPSIG and LDSIG. If you are participating in a special interest group and need meeting space, we have ample rooms available that can be booked now by contacting our facilities director, and I'll provide a contact for that shortly. We're setting up some maker programs as well. We have a room dedicated for a live demonstration of 3D printing, where you'll be able to talk to people who can help you understand how to craft 3D models, or if you're already doing modeling in 3D planning software, perhaps tips on how to refine those models and make them print better. And we're also going to have a live, not love, demonstration of cutting with your Cricut cutting machine, a super versatile tool that I enjoy using for my structures. And you'll be able to learn how to do 2D plans for that on a variety of software packages and see some cutting demos. The keynote address will be second to none. We have Michael Gross, actor, most known recently for the Tremor series of movies, and Santa Fe modeler who's active in discussion groups and also owner of a short line railroad. He's accepted our invitation to speak. Michael spoke at the 2017 PCR Regional Convention in Bakersfield, which I co-chaired, and his talk was just terrific. He grew up in Chicago at a home that was within walking distance of 10, count them, 10 railroads. So he grew up just saturated in a rail environment, and his grandfather was a locomotive engineer. So he has some stories that you will not want to miss. If you're a convention attendee of the past who has tended to skip the banquet, I I wouldn't do it this time. Michael doesn't speak that often, and when he does, it's a wonderful evening. We're planning a covered hopper in cement service as the convention car. Kaiser Permanente operates cement, a large cement and gravel plant in the area that Southern Pacific and now Union Pacific have served for many years. So it's an appropriate recognition of the area. Right now it's planned for HO scale only. If you are interested in other scales, please let us know and we'll explore that on a demand basis. Tours and attractions abound in the Bay Area. They begin here with the Niles Canyon Railroad, which offers a scenic trip through a canyon in the East Bay that's lined with trees and wildlife. They operate diesel and steam excursions in the summer, and we expect those to be available. They also offer private speeder rides, and if you've never ridden in a speeder, it's a unique way to see a rail line. We expect to have those available for sign up. I've done it, and it's a wonderful experience. The Roaring Camp Railroads in the Santa Cruz Mountains offer two options. The first is a narrow gauge switchback line up into the giant redwoods and a picnic ground. It's pulled by Heisler and Shea locomotives under steam. They also offer a diesel option, which will take you from their picnic grounds down to the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk for an afternoon at the beach, if you prefer that. They have a great chuck wagon barbecue on site, and it's a wonderful way to spend a half day or 3/4 of a day with great food, sun, big trees, and steam. Ardenwood Historic Farm, about 15 miles from the convention site, has narrow gauge equipment and is the headquarters of the Society for the Preservation of Carter Brothers Railroad Resources. Carter Brothers, of course, was a 19th century car and rolling stock manufacturer, and some of its equipment is preserved on site. They also have a number of interesting operating locomotives, including this Porter under steam and a couple of diesels. There are really too many attractions to list. Prototype options include those that are listed here. Some will require a few miles drive to reach, but just a number of options if you want to ride the rails. Because there's so many, I recommend the Wikipedia article titled List of San Francisco Bay Area Trains. It lists both prototype, historic, and model options. Dozens of items listed. Please look up that article and you'll find everything that I've just mentioned and more. Other attractions we're planning, we'll be doing a Santa Cruz Mountain wineries and wine tasting tour. I'm going to be leading that. So if you've enjoyed this visit today, I'll be taking you personally up there for some great Pinot Noir in the mountains. Filoli Home and Gardens in Woodside is a Gilded Age mansion seen in the picture here with incredible flower gardens. July during the convention is the peak of bloom for those and a great time to visit. We have the Winchester Mystery House, a early 20th century mansion built by Sarah Winchester, Levi's Stadium and the San Francisco 49ers, and even if you're a Dallas Cowboys or Chiefs fan, the museum is worth a visit. We'll be doing a Silicon Valley history tour. I'm also going to lead that one. We'll drop by the Hewlett-Packard Garage where Silicon Valley began, the Computer History Museum, the Tech Museum, and the Intel Museum. And corporate policies permitting, we'll visit the visitor centers at the Apple Spaceship, which is Apple Computer's enormous round headquarters office in Cupertino, and the Googleplex. Many, many dining options await you as well, from street food to Michelin-starred restaurants. If you're willing to drive a little bit further, there's San Francisco, Muir Woods for giant redwoods, the California State Railroad Museum, which is one of the nation's largest, very large collection of prototype equipment, the Monterey Bay Aquarium, Yosemite National Park, of course, the Napa Wine Country, and many more. For more information on local attractions, I encourage you to visit santaclara.org with the Convention and Visitors Bureau's website. And pictured here is Levi's Stadium. We've established a number of email addresses for contact for further information about the convention. You can write to any of these at any time, and we'll respond as quickly as we can. Publicity at NMRA2021.com. There in the second column goes to me, and the others are more special interest. So that's a brief overview. You might be asking now, so where's registration? How can I register? We expect registration to open September 1. We've deferred it intentionally in order to reduce the burden on the convention committee for processing changes and refunds. We find that the earlier that you open convention registration, the more things will change for people. So we've deferred it to September 1st, and we expect hotel bookings to be available shortly after that. Finally, the pandemic is on people's minds right now, and what I can tell you about that is that when the convention opens in July, we'll adhere to all state and county health orders that are in effect at that time. However, from now until next summer, we do have a special request. 2020 is just an unprecedented year. And so we ask for your positive support and your patience as things develop. They're developing slower than they normally would just because of the uncertainty and extraordinary nature of this year. But rest assured, we're working hard to present a fantastic convention next year, and we hope you'll consider coming. So thanks so much, and I hope to see you next summer.
You know, Chris, your presentation is so thorough. I don't have any questions at all.
Well, thank you. There are lots of little details in talking to other people. One thing that's come up a couple of times is just basics like the travel distance from one place to another. So we'll be posting a matrix that will show, for example, how long it'll take to drive to Yosemite, how long it will take to get to Roaring Camp, things like that. So there's that on my list. Where we have a number of other little questions that we'll be answering in an FAQ, things relating to transit costs and parking costs at the hotel and that sort of thing. So There's a lot of little details left out, but I'll do my best to fill those in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and the whole point is that everything's going to be available at the website, so people can get all the information that they need that way. I got to say, it's really cool to see so many friends and familiar places in the presentation. And I've got to say that I've covered, as you said, a lot of the layouts, and they are top notch. I've seen a few layouts in my days doing these videos. And also the attractions that you mentioned are covered extensively on this channel, that you can see us chasing trains in Niles Canyon, for example, or going up to Roaring Camp for whatever events they were having. So I love it. I think this is really great, and I'm getting really excited because this is one that I won't have to travel to.
That's a great thing to hear. I should also mention, and you and I just take this for granted, but the climate here in July is just fantastic. And I realize that the $199 price point for the hotel may seem higher than the rest of the country, but for that little extra money, you're going to get just a wonderful week. It's going to be dry. It's going to be warm. You'll be walking around in shirt sleeves. There won't be any humidity. It's just going to be a perfect environment for being outdoors, going to some of these attractions, and visiting indoor layouts. It should be comfortable. I'm personally looking forward to it. I'm a 50-year resident of the area, a Silicon Valley native, and I really enjoy showing people the history that we have here and the quality of modeling. So
absolutely,
yeah.
Well, like I said, I can't think of any more questions that I would ask you. So unless there's anything else that you would like to comment on, this is great.
Only that if folks would like to leave comments, we'll respond to them as soon as we can. If you write to the emails, we'll get back to you just as soon as we can. So it's been a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity, and we look forward to seeing everyone next year.
Thank you so much for your time, Chris, and thanks for joining us here. I think this is great.
You're welcome, John. Thank you.